Good evening, and thank you very much, the Dean of this IIT and also the Director who gave me an introduction to the IIT Bhubaneswar. There's a lot said about youth, innovation, and the topic too. I was just gently reminded that youth and innovation are going to be the propellers of India's economic growth. I thought it was stating the obvious, and to have me elaborate on it would be a very difficult task, especially because even though there were policies even earlier, and there were very many attempts from the youth of India since, I would think, distinctly after 1991, when the youth of India saw a possibility of contributing to the Indian economy directly because prospects opened up. But somewhere on the course after 1991, for various reasons, I think the environment was not so conducive, and many of our youth, like the youth before 91, saw prospects being elsewhere. And the contribution, however distant or tenuous it was, kept happening from Indians living abroad and contributing majorly to science and technology. But I would think since after 2016, when the stated policy for promoting and actively encouraging startups, we see the energy back again among the youth of India to see that it is possible to be here and it is possible to carry on with those kind of thoughts and ideas that the youth want to see bloom and also find strikingly good scale up propositions. So I see between 2016 and distinctly till 2021 a ramped up energy working in the youth of India, because anytime prospects are being looked at, there are two types of prospects we are talking about. One at a personal level, where somebody who wants to contribute to the Indian economy, in the sense wants to make a good career for herself or himself, sees the system, the governance, and also the way in which institutions function as one of the very important instrument with which you think you can either be here and do things or be somewhere else and do things and so on. So the prospect at a personal level for your careers to work out. The next would be, which is equally what you would take on board while making a decision, is the prospects which come out of policies which are either enabling or which are deterrent for good ideas to work out. So when you saw the latter in the opening of Indian economy in 1991, individuals who had the propensity to really contribute thought, yes, a lot of things are happening in India, and there was this hope which was working out. But as I said, as we went along, somewhere some kind of hindrances came and the same prospects didn't appear, although personally you thought your career could be built on those fantastic thoughts and ideas which you wanted to bloom with. But post 2016, when the policy was distinctly made for startups, and the government was actively engaged with the state governments as well to open up and to help out, that kind of a prospect came back to individuals. So both your personal career choices and also the way in which governments were enabling and facilitating youth to be here, do things, and in the sense of getting the commercial prospects also added into it. Your thought remains just as a thought, or you're able to come out with a thought to bloom, and then you're looking at the ways in which governments help to scale it up or to find funders or people who can quickly take your patents, which includes, therefore, even things which are normally very distant for the lay administration, as patents, your your ideas getting registered, getting the approval, the trademarks, the patents are all important instruments or step in the way in which you can move forward. So the simultaneous with 2016 development of ideas for bringing startups to flourish in India, where the policies on intellectual property, the ways in which we wanted to have that simplified, the long waiting lists that always deterred people from applying for patent rights here were all eased out. And there were immense data which I periodically used to show how the waiting list on patent registration has been brought down. So these are enablers which made the entire ecosystem a lot more easier, friendlier, and as much as you can achieve by being outside, you're able to achieve by being within the country. So not just a policy to facilitate, not just funds which can be used for leveraging, fund from the market, funds which can be given for startups at the initial stage as they progress further. So the entire, and also when the Honorable Prime Minister goes outside of the country to talk with governments outside, to see if their young will work together with our youth and to come to an understanding and have that bilateral understanding with countries. I distinctly remember having accompanied the Honorable Prime Minister in one of his visits to Germany, where the German youth and the startups there, who were very much powerhouse of the German policy making, we had agreed with them that they would have an exchange program and also will collectively and jointly take up challenges which are thrown for solutions that so much the industry or agriculture or any sector would want. Such kind of arrangements with the countries with whom we have bilateral relationship. The one another which I can recall, which I think immense potential even today, even as it works, is the one with Israel, the kind of understanding that we had with them. Because in promoting startups, in promoting and identifying talent, in promoting and identifying at the same time sharing of thoughts, in distinctly recognizing excellence in students, Israel was quite advanced when in comparison to ours. And they have been, I think, more than 2 times, Honorable Prime Minister, raising this issue with Israel, and they have also come forward to work with Indians. So Germany or Israel are 2 concrete examples I'm putting before you, where not just policies within the country, but also having understanding with our friendly countries have opened up possibilities for the young. Now, all this is all policy and enablers that we are bringing into the system. The taxation related matters, every budget I have, at least on the inputs received from people who work actively with the startups, have come to tell us about, you should relax on this, on the funders or on the startups themselves. So even that, at every stage in every budget, we have made provisions to make it easier, facilitate it, and also make sure it becomes attractive for PE, private equity funds, to come to India to invest. So I'm just marking those pillars which are very important for us in this course of optimizing what youth can do with the innovative thoughts with which they can work. And for that, because their energies will rightly have to go towards the core idea of working with some innovative thought, and they shouldn't be made to run from pillar to post to search for funds or certification or clearances and so on. The environment has been so created in India that you would possibly be only applying your mind on the core activity, which is the innovative activity in which you should rightly be working. So if this is about the government, and in the last 2-3 years, the well-known statistics, which I'll just as a point of reference leave before you, is the startup world, which is widening. About 87,000 of them have got the approval from the Department of Industrial Policy and Internal Trade. They are the ones to certify who the authorized or certified startups are. And from among them, they are the ones who also choose as to who are the ones to get XYZ certification for any other purpose in order to receive greater funds. Even with this, as we say, it sounds as if, oh, it's back again the same regime where you have to get certification and so on. It's not that. Otherwise, more than 100 startups wouldn't have become unicorns within a matter of, say, 5 to 6 years. So there is an active encouragement happening as well. I'm just touching upon issues broadly from the government's point of view. We, in the meanwhile, are enabling pharmaceutical sector, biomedical sector. Under that, you have the vaccines and other areas. Even otherwise, you've heard a lot about how government is trying to use technology in areas in which technology has not even entered, whether it is agriculture or in defense, space. Indian youth have proved that the moment the doors were opened for them to come up and work with the space sector in India, you have satellites being launched which are designed and also purpose-driven, tailor-made for some specific causes, all designed by Young of India. So I'm just giving you a broad sketch, but I suppose when we have the question and answer, we'll be able to talk more specifically on particular things of interest for all of you all. But let me first say, I'm very motivated and impressed to see this gathering. I'm sure you are otherwise tied to your labs. You're otherwise tied to your labs or some paper that you have to write and so on. And also I was very impressed by the fact that although it is only from 2018 you are in this campus, and prior to that from 2008 itself classes have been happening in the name of IIT Bhubaneswar, the number of papers that you have published actually shows the rigor of academia which is actually existing in this campus. Indian science and technology graduates, also I broadly use science and technology, engineering, medicine, all of them together, have really won the, or I can put it this way, have really attracted serious academics all over the world only because of the academic rigor. You're not in IITs for the rote business. You're not in the IITs for just doing good work to get a good certificate, a good grade and get out. In the meanwhile, I'm indeed impressed that you have your faculty extracting that much and more from you so that you realize what it takes to be in this area, what it takes to be recognized in this area. And most of your peers who have all gone to different parts of the world, and your seniors who are in some of the most covetous positions, have not been there or have not reached there for nothing. It is that kind of academic rigor. It is that kind of, if I can say, sweat and toil in your academic work. And it is that kind of guidance that you get from your teachers, all of which makes that, that cocktail, if I can use that word, that potion, if you're all Asterix followers, that potion which is made, which actually gives you that, cutting edge compared to any other student from any other part of the world. So it is that potion which you have to ready with the right mixture of knowledge, with the right mixture of correction, course corrections, experiments, and so on. It is that which is so required with your work. So I'm sure you're using every minute of your time in this institute to ready yourself to meet the challenges of the world. You have ever so many icons who have passed out of such institutions. So do make the most of your time here. India needs all of your expertise, the energy. And India actually can contribute not just for India, but for the entire world. And I'm not exaggerating in this, the entire world. The youth with that kind of skill sets and readiness to go through the mill to prove their professional credibility is largely in India. And that's where you're going to have an advantage compared to the rest of them found anywhere else in the world. So all the very best for you all. Thank you for coming here, being in this number to listen.
Thank you, ma'am, for that inspiring and insightful speech.